Greetings, everyone. There's an interesting story or interesting article in the Star newspaper of 7th July 2023. The headline says, "Are South African immigrants being financially stiffed on the way out?" So it talks about people of South African origin that emigrate to different countries overseas. Uh, uh, People have been living for some time. A survey done in 2022 found that 25% of registered voters in South Africa were considering emigrating. Data released according to this article last year in 2022 says about 914,000 left the country between 2015 and 2020. So that, of course, when these people leave, most of these people, according to this article, they own property in South Africa. They put their properties, unmovable properties, on the market. I've been following discussions on other platforms that people are selling properties. You go to a number of suburbs, you will be met with a sign, property on sale, property on sale, property on sale. I've never done a study myself to see whether this has increased or it has always been the case that properties like your houses are always in the market. But there's an interesting quote here from Harry Scherzer. Is a CEO and a founder of independent foreign exchange provider, Future Forex, because the article merely speaks about the impact of their monies when they move their monies out of South Africa and go to look for greener pastures elsewhere. It says, is quoted as saying that even people who feel like they are not living with much can end up transferring hundreds of thousands or even millions of rands. So thousands of rands or even millions of rands are leaving the country. But of course, when people are leaving, they are then charged taxes to take their money out of the country. So he says, Strezer says, all too often, these fees are charged in ways that are untransparent, exorbitant, and inconsistently applied. As a result, emigrating South Africans end up paying much more than they should to transfer money, and with a weak rand, that can easily impact what they have to start their new lives abroad. So as people move out of South Africa, like I said, 940,000 or so. A study done last year is that have been leaving South Africa, close to 1 million people. Like I'm saying, I've never done a study whether this is a small number of people emigrating or it's a big number or it's average, but it says 25% of registered voters plan to emigrate or have emigrated already. But because I didn't have access to the stat itself, it doesn't speak about the rest of these people that are living, whether they are white South Africans or it is mixed, white, blacks. I didn't have access. It would be interesting to see if indeed it's a mixture. South Africa is a rainbow nation, whether immigration affects every South African across racial divide without subscribing it to a particular race. The CEO, who is quoted here in the article, continues, all forex providers charge a margin and there are valid reasons for doing so. The trap is that most banks and traditional forex providers aren't transparent about this cost. That means that customers, many of whom aren't even aware of the spread, in the first place have no way of knowing whether or not they are paying a fair price. All too often, they are not. That lack of transparency allows providers to charge exorbitant rates on the spread, with customers paying the price. Depending on which provider they use, a customer could end up paying upwards of 10,000 rands more than they should on transactions of more than 1 million rands. So the article says, which is interesting, is that it is people are able to annually to move 1 million rands out of South Africa. Let me just read this part. It says, while relaxation in exchange controls have made it easier and cheaper to take money out of the country, South Africans can now take 1 million rands a year out without any approvals. So you can take 1 million rands without any approvals. When I was at the Bedbridge Border Post, there is a sticker there which says you can only carry cash. I think it was saying 25,000 rands. You can't carry more than that. But here it says if you are emigrating, you can take over about 1 million rands without any approvals, and a further 10 million rands a year out of the country without restrictions. Immigrants still have to deal with banking and forex fees, right? So you are able to take up to 10 million. So it tells you that the people that are emigrating are your middle class, possibly the upper class. It is not your ordinary citizens, because the ordinary citizens will not have 1 million rands. The people we the working class are paid less. So what like I'm saying, I don't have the access to the study that was done to see whether it cuts across racial divide. But what one deduces from this article is that the middle class is the one that is emigrating. We will further do research to see whether this cuts across racial divide, because I'm raising this because in most African countries after gaining independence, we saw white compatriots leaving the countries, be it in Zimbabwe, in Angola, in Mozambique, every African country. So we are not sure whether at this stage it is cutting across the racial divide. Please share your views, but it's clear that it is the middle class that is emigrating to other countries for greener pastures. They are taking monies out of South Africa. What does all this mean to the South African economy? You might want to share your views in the comment section. Please write in the comment section. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you're on TikTok, please follow us. Otherwise, have a great weekend. Goodbye.